You are probably suffocating your kidneys every single night while you sleep, and the exact healthy dinner you ate hours ago is actively pulling the trigger. Most people go to bed thinking they are resting, but internally, their renal system is fighting a brutal war against microscopic inflammation and wild cortisol spikes. But there is one specific, almost forgotten legume you will discover at the very end of this video that completely reverses this damage, flushing toxins out of your blood while forcing your brain into a comatose-like deep sleep. If you leave early, you will miss the exact preparation method that removes the toxic compound found in this final bean, which could otherwise make your sleep worse. But the real problem isn't just what you are eating. It is the biological timing of when your organs actually need specific amino acids to repair themselves. And this is where most people fail entirely. They eat heavy meats or fast-burning carbs, spiking their glomerular filtration rate and forcing their kidneys to work overtime precisely when they should be shutting down. But what if you could consume specific, scientifically backed seeds of power that act like a gentle biochemical sweep for your blood, lowering your core body temperature and relaxing your central nervous system simultaneously? Tonight, we are exposing the top 5 nocturnal legumes that elite longevity experts use to biohack their sleep architecture and shield their kidneys. We are not talking about the standard grocery store staples that destroy your gut lining and cause midnight bloating. We are diving into ancient, nutritionally dense powerhouses. Number 1 is the adzuki bean. If your goal is to literally wash away cellular debris while plunging into delta wave sleep, the adzuki bean is an absolute non-negotiable addition to your evening protocol. What makes the adzuki bean a biological miracle is its overwhelming concentration of molybdenum, a rare trace mineral that acts as the ultimate catalyst for hepatic and renal detoxification. But here is the terrifying part that most nutritionists completely overlook. When your body breaks down normal food, it produces sulfites, which build up in the bloodstream and force the kidneys to pump frantically to clear them out. Molybdenum naturally neutralizes these sulfites, instantly dropping the workload on your renal system so it can finally rest. And this is exactly where the biological magic happens for your sleep. Because the kidneys are no longer dealing with a sulfite emergency, your adrenal glands stop pumping out stress hormones, allowing your natural melatonin production to surge without interference. Adzuki beans are also packed with specific polyphenols that directly target the endothelial lining of your blood vessels. This means they improve microcirculation, allowing blood to flow effortlessly through the millions of tiny filters in your kidneys without high pressure. A fascinating clinical observation from Eastern functional medicine practitioners shows that patients consuming adzuki beans in the evening experience a dramatic drop in waking up for midnight bathroom trips. But do not make the fatal mistake of eating them out of a sugary canned paste. You must buy them raw. Soak them in alkaline water for exactly 12 hours to strip away the phytic acid and slow boil them with a slice of fresh ginger. Ginger acts as a mild carminative, preventing any gas formation in the lower intestine. Eat just half a cup of this warm adzuki preparation 2 hours before you close your eyes. You will feel a subtle, heavy warmth spread through your limbs as your vascular system relaxes. Number 2 is the mung bean. Mung beans are the unsung heroes of thermal regulation, which is the absolute most critical factor in initiating deep, restorative sleep. Most people suffer from what experts call toxic heat, a low-grade internal inflammation caused by modern diets that keeps the kidneys working in overdrive and prevents the brain's sleep centers from fully engaging. But listen closely, because this next mechanism is mind-blowing. Mung beans contain highly specialized flavonoids like vitexin and isovitexin, which have been shown in advanced pharmacological studies to physically protect the kidney cells from oxidative injury. They literally form a biochemical shield around your renal tissue. But the secret to why they put you to sleep faster than a sleeping pill lies in their unique amino acid profile, specifically their massive load of bioavailable tryptophan combined with an incredibly low glycemic index. This means the tryptophan easily crosses the blood-brain barrier without causing an insulin spike, converting directly into serotonin and then melatonin in a slow, controlled drip throughout the night. But here is the catch that ruins it for most beginners. If you eat mung beans whole and undercooked, you will destroy your gut microbiome and stay awake all night with cramps. The elite strategy is to consume split yellow mung beans, also known as mung dal. Because the fibrous green husk has been removed, the digestion process takes almost zero energy from your body. You boil them down into a thin golden broth using turmeric and a tiny drop of clarified butter or ghee. The healthy fats in the ghee bind to the fat-soluble antioxidants in the mung bean and carry them straight to your cellular membranes. Drinking a small mug of this mung bean elixir acts like a liquid-weighted blanket for your nervous system, drastically lowering your core temperature and signaling to your kidneys that the metabolic workday is over. Number 3 is the navy bean. Navy beans are a tactical weapon against the modern epidemic of high homocysteine levels, which is quietly scarring the tiny blood vessels inside your kidneys while you sleep. Most people have zero idea that their cardiovascular system and their renal system are basically the same machine. If your blood is thick and full of inflammatory markers, your kidneys have to forcefully push that sludge through their delicate filters, creating microscopic tears. But this is where the navy bean changes the entire equation. It is one of the densest sources of folate and phosphatidylserine available in the plant kingdom. Folate actively hunts down homocysteine in the blood and converts it into harmless byproducts, immediately dropping the pressure inside your renal arteries. But what phosphatidylserine does to your brain at night is nothing short of revolutionary. It is a phospholipid that directly binds to cortisol and effectively shuts off your brain's stress response. If you are the type of person who lies in bed with racing thoughts, worrying about tomorrow, it is because your cortisol is violently suppressing your sleep hormones. The navy bean chemically disarms that stress, but you cannot just throw them in a pot and hope for the best. Navy beans have a tough cellular matrix that requires a strategic approach. You must soak them overnight in water with a splash of apple cider vinegar. The acetic acid in the vinegar breaks down the complex oligosaccharides that usually cause severe bloating. After boiling them until they are totally soft, mash them into a smooth puree with roasted garlic. Garlic contains allicin, which synergizes with the folate in the beans to widen your blood vessels even further. A few spoonfuls of this puree alongside some steamed asparagus creates a meal that requires almost zero digestive effort, flooding your body with cortisol-blunting compounds and giving your kidneys a pristine, frictionless environment to filter blood while you remain unconscious. Number 4 is edamame, specifically young, unfermented soybeans harvested before they harden. The fitness industry has completely demonized soy based on outdated, poorly interpreted science. But the truth is that young edamame is a nocturnal powerhouse for renal longevity and deep REM sleep. The secret lies in a specific group of phytonutrients called isoflavones, particularly genistein. Genistein is a master regulator of vascular elasticity. As you age, the tiny blood vessels in your kidneys become rigid, making it harder to filter out toxins without raising your overall blood pressure. But here is the detail that will completely shift your perspective. Genistein actively promotes the release of nitric oxide in your endothelial cells during the night, keeping those tiny renal vessels wide open and flexible. This means your kidneys can filter out a massive amount of metabolic waste with almost zero strain. And while your kidneys are experiencing this vascular relaxation, your brain is getting bombarded with a massive dose of naturally occurring magnesium and calcium. These two minerals work in perfect synergy inside the edamame pod. Calcium helps the brain use the amino acid tryptophan to manufacture melatonin, while magnesium directly binds to gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA, receptors in your central nervous system. GABA is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. It turns off the lights in your brain. But do not ruin this pristine food by soaking it in refined table salt or frying it in seed oils. The absolute best way to consume edamame for nocturnal benefits is to steam the pods lightly for just 5 minutes. Do not overcook them, or you destroy the delicate isoflavones. Pop the beans out of the pod and lightly toss them with dried seaweed flakes. Seaweed provides iodine, which stabilizes your thyroid, further dropping your nocturnal metabolic rate. Chewing a small handful of these warm, mineral-rich beans an hour before bed tells your entire biological clock that it is time to shut down the factory, initiate deep tissue repair, and let the kidneys glide through the night effortlessly. And finally, number 5, the mystery bean I warned you about at the beginning. The one that possesses an almost terrifying level of power over your neurochemistry and your renal recovery. I am talking about the fava bean, also known as the broad bean. This is not a beginner's food. This is advanced biological engineering. Fava beans are one of the only natural food sources on planet Earth that contain extremely high, pharmacologically active levels of L-DOPA. L-DOPA is the direct chemical precursor to dopamine. Now, you might think dopamine is just for motivation and waking up, but this is exactly where the science of sleep will shock you. A massive, sudden spike in dopamine during the day keeps you awake, but a slow, sustained, natural release of dopamine in the evening from L-DOPA actually regulates your circadian rhythm and triggers the onset of the deepest, most elusive phase of sleep, the delta wave cycle. People who lack dopamine at night suffer from restless leg syndrome and severe micro-awakenings, completely ruining their renal recovery. But fava beans fix this at the root neurological level. Furthermore, the immense amount of soluble fiber inside fava beans acts as a sponge in your gastrointestinal tract, absorbing excess urea and nitrogen before it ever reaches the bloodstream. This means your kidneys have virtually nothing to filter. You are essentially giving them the night off. But here is the absolute most critical warning. Fava beans contain compounds called vicine and convicine, which can be toxic if prepared incorrectly. You absolutely must remove the outer leathery skin after blanching them. Never eat the skin. Once peeled, you must slow roast the bright green inner bean or boil it aggressively for 20 minutes to neutralize the alkaloids. Once prepared safely, mash them with a tiny amount of fresh mint. Mint relaxes the esophageal sphincter and prevents acid reflux. Eating a small portion of properly prepared fava beans is like injecting a pure sleep signal into your brainstem while simultaneously building an impenetrable fortress around your kidney cells. You will wake up feeling a level of clarity and lightness you haven't felt in decades. Do not ignore these protocols. Your organs are begging for this kind of precision. Implement just one of these 5 specific beans into your evening routine, follow the exact preparation methods to the letter, and watch as your sleep architecture transforms and your biological age reverses.